Hi Monstars, it's me, Melody, back with another video. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about a Sims family that I created a couple years ago. They're the Gray family, and trust me, they are insane. I have to tell you guys all the juicy drama that happened with this family. I just wanted to say though, trigger warning, there is some sensitive subjects in this video, so please take care of yourselves and please be careful. I'll be honest, I yapped on this family for at least 48 minutes and I wasn't even finished, so I had to cut down the video. But I'm going to be doing a mini series, so I'm going to go over this family, make it into little parts, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me what you think down below, and definitely subscribe so you can keep up with this crazy family. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and yeah. So the first sim that we have is the very first sim that I created for the save file. Kaylee Gray. Such a cutie, so cute. I had just started getting into custom content because for the longest time I didn't do any of that. I didn't do mods, I didn't do custom content, nothing. So I had some alpha CC, some alpha custom content as her hair and stuff. Everything else was still pretty base game, but she is my very first sim. Kaylee, she's so iconic. She's the start of this crazy family. Basically, Kaylee, she was an actress for a while. She only made it to like a 2-star celebrity. And her life was honestly kind of boring. I wasn't really doing much. I was just kind of playing the game, you know. But then she had a son named Theo. I named him Theo Gray, right? She had him with a guy that she met at a club. And he died from overworking himself. He's gone, right? So she had just raised him in a small apartment until she moved to a nice house. You know, she became a style influencer, reached the top of her career. Very basic stuff, you know, nothing crazy. It's very, very simple, right? Now we go on to Theo Gray, the second generation. This man was something. So Theo, the son of Kaylee, he was born such a cutie. Look at these photos. He had made a friend named Sierra. They had been friends since they were toddlers and they grew up together. And his childhood was pretty nice. Nothing bad really happened. In high school, he became best friends with Sierra and started dating this girl named Jiro Kim. I don't know if I said her name right. I mean, I'm the one who named her, but I'm not good with names. So they were high school sweethearts. They moved in together after he finished college, into which he got his master's degree in technology. Hey. She then became pregnant with her firstborn, Nolan. So in college, he had made a friend who, you won't believe it, who then ended up sleeping with his wife. Yep. Yeah, he slept with his wife. So his best friend, his new college best friend, went behind his back and got with his wife. And he walked in on them. He walked in on them together, right? He immediately kicked her out because he was like, what are you doing? Like, why would I stay with someone who just literally cheated on me with my supposed best friend? Why would I stay with you? So he kicked her out and she went and lived with the best friend that she cheated with. So then he, you know, he's depressed and stuff, and he comes across this vampire who then sucks his blood. I don't know. She just took advantage of him. I was like, wow, that's fucked up. Anyway, she becomes pregnant because they sleep together. She becomes pregnant and has a kid, but he has no idea that that child exists. And till he dies, he never met that kid, knowing that that was his kid. It's spoilers, right? But you'll know in the future. So then him and his best friend, Sierra, you remember her, they became a couple. They soon get married pretty quickly, and she soon becomes pregnant with their child, Asher, who was supposed to be their only child, but they accidentally woohooed. Like, I had this mod. Okay guys, don't judge me. I had the mod Wicked Wimps. I know, don't judge me guys, but I had the thing clicked off where pregnancy can happen just randomly, like, so it could just happen, right? And so they accidentally got her pregnant again, so she had twins, Hazel and Melody. So his life was it was a little chaotic, but nothing really crazy, you know. He was honestly my favorite sim. I had a lot of fun playing him. In college, he was a part of the gaming career thing, so he did a bunch of gaming. He made a lot of money. Like, he was literally my first sim child, and he was my favorite. Honestly, bless him. He was a good sim, right? And so then we have Nolan Gray, okay, 3rd generation. This is when things start to take a bit of a turn, a little bit, you know, like things start to pick up from here on. So Nolan was the son of Theo and Jiro, the ones we just talked about. He had a semi-good childhood. His mother was obviously out of the picture. She was literally living with that guy. She had no contact with him. She just immediately abandoned him, which is like messed up, right? But his dad got with Sierra when he was a toddler. She soon became like a mother to him, adopting him as one of her own. And then as he ages, he gets his other siblings and stuff. Asher and him were pretty close, but when he becomes a teenager, things start to take a turn for the worse. Now, this is when things got a little weird. So Nolan, stepmom Sierra, she started to act really weird around him. She was always talking to him, just being like really stalkerish. I don't know how to explain it. She was just not good, right? And so he just wanted to leave. He was tired of his family. He was tired of just being around them. He wanted to, this is when the horse ranch, kind of the horse expansion pack was coming out, and so I wanted his story to where he gets tired of them and moves out to the countryside. He just gets so fed up and he just disappears, right? So when he aged up, he immediately moved to the countryside in like a little small house and stuff. He cut contact with everyone, literally everyone, besides Asher. Asher was the only one that would come and visit him, but he would never go out of his way to see him. He was very much, you know, to himself in the country. He gets a horse, a very pretty horse named Outlaw. He starts to train and stuff and make some wine, you know, saving up all those things. And as the years go on, he slowly starts to climb the ranks. You know, I was trying to win the competitions and the horse racing. Honestly, when it came to that, you know, it could have been a really good pack, honestly, because if they had made the animations better for how the horse training was, for how the competitions were, I feel like it could have been a really good pack, but they really cut the costs on things. Like, when you're training, you're just going in circles over and over again, or just jumping over. Like, it just was so lacking, but I still pushed through it. I was like, this is his story. I'm gonna try and get something out of this, right? So then he meets a woman, Caitlin, look at her, so pretty, who soon start dating. He becomes the champion of horse racing. Hey, he's got a lot of money, right? 200,000, very well off. And when he started dating Caitlin, she convinced him to try and speak to his family again, you know, letting his dad know everything, like what's going on, right? So he has this huge party and invites the family, his twins, and now all of them, they're now children and stuff, they're no longer toddlers. Gets to meet them again. He hadn't seen them, you know. And then Nolan tells his dad what happened with Sierra. So basically what had happened, so when he moved out, she stalked him. So I cut contact, right? So I wasn't talking to them, but she was showing up everywhere he was, every single spot, even came up to his door. He didn't tell them at all where he lived. Came up to his door and said, "Oh, you've been such a good neighbor. Here's a gift." And I was like, neighbor? We live in two totally different worlds. Why are you stalking me, right? I was like, that's really weird. And so he got like really creeped out and he didn't want anything to do with them, especially Sierra, because she was just being really weird, right? So he tells his dad, he's like, hey, like, your wife, who's my stepmom, was stalking me after I left and it made me like really uncomfortable. And Theo was like, oh my gosh, like, what? I never knew that happened. So then him and Sierra, they separate, not separate like together, but they go home from the party, separate from the party. And he has a conversation with her and he was like, you need to stop. you know, stalking my son. Like, that's really weird. He doesn't like it. You're making him uncomfortable. And he was like, I'll still stay married to you, but you need to stop stalking him, right? And she was like, oh, okay, I won't do it again, whatever. So after that, she literally stopped talking to him. I was actually kind of surprised because I was thinking in the story I'd have to just let them fizzle off. But literally, she just quit. I was like, damn, that imaginary story I had really became canon. So I was like, it's really coming together, you know? And so, you know, life goes on. Nolan and Caitlin, they soon get married and they have a baby girl named Holly. Super cute. One of their dates, they actually went to the museum. I have a picture right here. I was trying so hard to be picture savvy because this was supposed to be my forever family. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have all these photos, gonna have all this stuff, you know, everything. And so I was taking a bunch of photos, which I'll show here, of like the family and stuff. And yeah, so his story is over. Nolan, his story's over, right? So then we move on to Asher. Asher Gray, look at him. Beautiful. He stays in contact. This is when his sibling Nolan moved out. He stayed in contact with him. He soon became super annoyed with his family as a teenager. Like, he did not want to be with them at all. He was always at his older brother's house. Then he met a man, Michael, and they started dating. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't that interested in his story. It was okay. Like, I didn't really know what to do with him. So I just kind of got him a boyfriend and I was like, you know what? Yeah. So I didn't really have much to do with his story. Basically, all that happens, he ages up, stays with his family for a while before moving into Kaylee's house when she passed away. And he took Michael with him. And then he found a ring in Michael's bag and found out that he's going to propose soon. So then they get engaged. And during this time, Asher decided to become a style influencer, just like his grandma. So cute. And his fiance was a solo guitarist, you know, trying to find his way with music. He wasn't really doing that well. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He wasn't getting anywhere. But they were like, oh, you know, it's fine. Like, he'll make it, right? He never did. But you know what? It was a good try, right? And so they soon have a science baby, a daughter named Jocelyn. Very cute. So that's the end of his story. Hazel, oh my gosh. You know, it's kind of funny. So Hazel and Melody, they're the twins, right? And when I tell you this, you will definitely see who was my favorite out of the two. I'm sorry, but Melody was my favorite, and you will see soon. So Hazel, she, you know, had a good childhood. Nothing really happened. Met a girl. They started dating. She started to make edibles because I had the base mental mod. So she started making edibles. She opened up her own like weed company, everything. She was just dispensary and all that stuff. She had 2 kids with her girlfriend, Ember and DeAndre. Those were her kids with her. And these are some pictures. Very cute. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep saying very cute a lot. But now, guys. Now, this is when we get to the trouble child. She had such a crazy life. Are you guys ready for this? Okay. So, this is Melody Gray, 3rd generation. She's the twin sister of Hazel. Now, she had a really easy childhood. She didn't have to worry about anything. She was her dad's favorite. And as a teen, she got really good grades. May have caused some like tiny trouble with like pranks and stuff, but she was a pretty good teen, honestly. She really didn't do anything bad. Then when she hit young adult, things took a turn. So then she meets this guy named Damien, right? He's a drug dealer and he's also an adult. I estimated that he was probably like 7, maybe like 8, 9 years older than him. He was definitely older than her by a good amount, right? So she goes to her first rave, and that's where she met him. And he offers her some drugs. She takes them. Not the smartest. She takes them. but this soon starts her addiction to ketamine. I know, that's pretty crazy. Like, she's addicted to ketamine, right? So he becomes her dealer and her fling, you know, so they're kind of a little toxic, you know, spicy relationship going on there. And basically she starts going to more raves, going out more. She's always high. And her parents started to notice, you know, they're like, what's going on with Melody? She's getting really skinny out of nowhere. She's acting very out of it, you know, very, what's going on? Like, they were getting really worried, right? And so her dad confronts her because him, Theo and Sierra, they walked in on her snorting up some lines in the bathroom. Ooh, now that's embarrassing. And so he confronts her. He's like, you know, you need to stop this. Like, you need to get help. Like, I'll get you to rehab. Like, you need to stop. And she was like, fuck no. Excuse my language. She was like, no, right? She's like, I'm not gonna do that. So then she goes over to her fling's house, right? And Damien has a brother named Cash. And Damien and Cash, they're always there. Damien actually owns a nightclub. And his brother, Cash, DJs there a lot, right? And Cash is near her age, so they're both young adults. And he had two friends, Lamar and Kyler. See right here. They were his friends. And oh my gosh, they started to have parties, all of them, all together at their house, right? Now, Melody, she was a wild one. She had a threesome with Cash's friends, Lamar and Kyler, at one of their parties because they were partying a lot. And Damien was too high to notice. He's into that cocaine, you know, that, like, you know, sugar. So it was not good. He was literally like too knocked out. He didn't even care. Passed out in the living room. And she was getting it on his bed. The disrespect, I say, that was insane. I did not prompt that. I was just having fun. I was like, oh yeah, party. And then they disappear and I was like, there's no way. And they all start sleeping together. I was like, oh my gosh, like, are you serious? This is insane. And Cash was not having it. He was like, I can't deal with this. So he goes into his room. He starts playing his guitar, just trying to ignore it all, you know? And that was just crazy. And so Melody, she starts to party more. She's doing more drugs. She's trying the shrooms, LSD, and her father and mother becoming more and more concerned. Like, they're even angry at her for ignoring them and like their concerns and stuff, right? So they found her once again getting high in the bathroom. I don't know why she keeps doing that. She's getting caught, and she got caught again. And it causes a huge fight. So then her father, Theo, threatens to throw her out if she doesn't go to rehab and get her life together. And she was like, man, I do not care. She's like, why should I go to rehab? I'm having fun. Why should I stop? So then she ignores them again. And that causes her mom, Sierra, to have a breakdown. And it's funny enough because her mom has a breakdown and she finds out that she is like, what's that one trait? It's like erratic or something. She got so messed up that she became erratic. Like, she was not doing well about this. And her siblings had no idea about what was going on because they all had moved out. She was still living at home. They didn't know anything, right? They weren't really talking to her in their own worlds, right? So then on New Year's, her boyfriend, Damien, he died from an overdose. Yeah, on New Year's. And she saw it. She saw him die. And the Grim Reaper took him away. And they had a funeral. And this is when she starts to get closer to Cash, his brother. And she would always come over just to cry on his bed, you know, her ex-partner's bed. Sleep on the side he slept on, going to his grave often. And, you know, honestly, when stuff like this happens, you'd expect her to maybe shapen up. Maybe be like, I can't do this. Like, I need to get better. Well, it was actually the opposite. She started to spiral more out of control. She was just not doing well mentally. She had her parents and her fighting all the time. It just wasn't going good, so she was just getting high and high and high. So Cash's friend Kyler became her new drug person, like her new what's it called, dealer. Yes, dealer. And they started sleeping together. It was just messy, right? She was just going down a bad path. And finally her dad, he just had enough. He was like, I'm sorry, I can't deal with this. I love you, but I cannot deal with you constantly getting mad, throwing things, insulting us, doing all this reckless stuff, and you're just not gonna get help, so I can't have you here anymore. And so she gets a suitcase with her clothes, picture of her and her sister, and she goes to Nolan, who's in the countryside. And she doesn't tell him the full story. She's just like, oh, you know, I was kicked out because I was fighting with them and they don't want me there. And Nolan, you know, he didn't question it. I mean, he had his own issues with his family, his dad and his stepmom. So he wasn't gonna like push her on it and be like, well, why? So he just accepted her in and was like, oh, you can stay with us for a while. Like, it's okay. You know, I don't mind. And he doesn't know anything. Nothing, right? He doesn't even call his dad to be like, why'd you like kick her out? He just took her side and kept it, right? So then a couple days are going by, you know, they're just chilling, and Melody is near his daughter, Holly, you know, and she doesn't do anything. She's very nice, but she's still extremely high. Like, she's still using at their house, and he doesn't know. And so Theo, he calls Nolan one day and he was like, hey, what's going on? And he was like, oh, he tells her the whole truth of why Melody was kicked out, how she's been acting, what's going on. And Nolan was like, what? She didn't tell me this. She just said you guys were fighting and you just kicked her out. And he was like, no, she's using, she's not well, right? And we just couldn't handle it anymore. And Nolan was like really upset because he was like, why did you lie to me? He comes up to her, he's like, why did you lie to me? You could have just told me what was going on. And she was like, oh, well, you know, and he's like, no, like, I'm sorry. I have a daughter. I cannot have you near her. You need to leave by tonight. So he kicks her out. And that, you know, was not good. So she has nowhere to go. She's like, well, what do I do now? And she's like, I don't know what to do. But then Cash contacts her and he's like, hey, why don't you come to my house? You know, I have an extra room. Just stay here. And so she's like, okay. So she goes over there and her siblings find out. So Hazel and Asher, they found out what happened. Asher called her and he was just checking in on her, but he didn't tell her what to do. And Hazel actually took the time out of her day to come and see her. So she visited Cash's house to come and see her. But again, she didn't tell her to sober up. No one is telling her to sober up, right? So one night, she comes home from a party at Kyler's. She goes to the bathroom to take another line, and she takes too much, which causes her to have an overdose. And Cash walks in and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I need to save her. And so he pleads with the Grim Reaper, and the Grim Reaper actually agrees to bring her back. And so he revives Melody. And this is when it actually kicks into her that, like, death actually scared her this time. So she was like, I need to change. I need to not do this. I do not want to die, right? So she then becomes scared of death and realizes, I need to stop. So Cash, he starts helping her. He pays for her rehab, you know, helps her get her like addiction over. She cuts all like contact with Kyler, and how all that relationship just dies because she does not want anything like that. She cuts any romance with anyone else. She wants to fully restart her life, right? And so she's going to rehab. She's getting better. Then she finally gets to a point where she's good. She's doing better. She's no longer using. She's gaining weight. Like, she's doing a lot better. So then she gets a part-time job as a babysitter. And she's really trying to get her life in order, you know? And so she starts going outside, talking to new people. She met a guy named Charles. They hit it off pretty well, and he even invited her out to a date at a sushi restaurant. Well, his wife, yeah, you heard me, his wife suddenly walks in, catches them together, and she shoves Melody and yells at her husband. And Melody was like, whoa, I didn't know that this was going on. I don't want anything to do with this. No, like, get me out of here. So she immediately cuts everything with him. She's like, no, I'm not about to do this, right? I just got better. Why would I want to do this? So then the next day, she goes out to the Spice Festival to see if she can find anyone else. She comes across a guy named Zachary, but soon finds out he's non-committal. So she's like, oh my gosh. So then she meets a guy named Andre when she's out shopping. They start to talk and soon start to date. Melody leaves her job and starts looking for a new one because she's like, I want to get somewhere. Her boyfriend, Andre, suggests that she should join the teaching career. And like, in reality, that probably wouldn't happen with her past. Who knows? I don't know. Because it's kind of tricky because she has a record and stuff. But it's The Sims, so who cares, right? So she starts working as a teacher's assistant. And she's, you know, she's having a good life. She tells him, you know, I don't want any kids. I don't want any kids. He's like, okay, that's fine. So she gets engaged to him. They get married and they live out their years. No kids, just living life. Happy and collected. That was a roller coaster. Let me tell you, that was such a ride. Because most of the stuff that happened, I didn't even do most of it. Like, so the romances and the doing like the drugs and stuff, she was doing this all what is it called? Automatically. She was just doing it, right? And so I was like, oh my gosh, she is just insane. Like, what is she doing? But you know what? I'm really happy. I was like, I need to give her a good ending. You know, she had a lot of rough patches, but I was like, she can get better. I know she can do it. So then she got a good ending and I was very happy for her. So that is the end of her story, but it was something. Here's some pictures of her, you know, so pretty. And that's part 1 of the Gray family. Thank you guys so much for watching this far. I'm going to put the next video sometime this week, so be prepared to see that. This family is crazy. They are just so insane. I love Melody. I love Theo. They literally have such a place in my heart. I cannot wait to share more of this family with you guys. So please like, comment, and subscribe so you can keep updated. Definitely comment what you think about them. I said that in the beginning, but definitely let me know after you heard all this stuff. Let me know. And I just wanted to say that on the screen, I'm going to put up some resources. If you are struggling or someone else is struggling, please take care of yourself. Please go out. Find someone will always be there for you. I promise. I care about you guys and I don't want to make you guys feel like I was being insensitive with this. I truly want everyone to get help and I hope you guys are good. So please take care of yourselves and thank you so much for watching today's video and I will see you guys sometime this week. Thank you again. Bye.